It's 6 o'clock. We will start with short introduction and we will see who will join us in a couple of minutes. So welcome to Riga Power BI Meetup. Probably, as you know, if you are new to this meetup, you can see that we are like running this meetup for 5 years already. It's one of the first official Microsoft Power BI user groups in Europe, and we are covering different Microsoft BI related topics. Usually it's Power BI, it's Excel, it's SQL Server, and now it's of course Power Platform. And for today, I prepared an introduction to Powerapps. And later I think in November or December, if you look at the plans for this year on the meetup group, you will see that we also we have planned a meetup about advanced Canvas apps and advanced Power Apps. But today I will give you like very brief introduction about how to build apps. Of course, most of the today's meetup will be a demo. I hope that all the demos will work. We will do everything live, and I will give you some insight into it. Of course, my goal or my intention is that you will sooner or later, will try it out, will learn about it. Maybe not everything is ready right now on the 100%, but platform is like developing very rapidly. So it will be soon one of the main tools for how we build applications. And the main idea what Microsoft actually gives us, and if we go now to the contents of this meetup, and what else? So currently there are not a lot of us, but it's okay. So if you have any questions, please unmute yourself and say and ask this question, and or comment something, or write in chat if you don't want to speak. So it's absolutely okay. So I expect that it will be quite interactive. But yeah, let's go on. And what we see that every year Gartner publishes a lot of different Magic Quadrant reports like this one, and just a couple of days ago, there's a Gartner report for low-code application platforms. So you could find it on the internet under the abbreviation LCAP, so low-code application platforms. And if you look at the names here usually we need to look at this on the leaders quadrant. So if you look at leaders quadrant, whom we have here, you could see that here's a Salesforce, Microsoft with Power Platform, mainly with Power Apps. So that is what we were covering today. There's OutSystems, Mendix, which is known for years as a SAP main tool for low-code application development. Appian, quite popular platform for application development, and ServiceNow, which is, we could say, this is a business browser for Jira. So the ServiceNow, the platform where we could build a service workflows for application processing, or for claim processing, or for issue processing. And we see that like we have the who are newcomers here for this year and didn't present it here last year. It's Appian and ServiceNow. So they are newcomers. So they are entering this market. Why low code is even important? Why we are talking about this low code and what it means, the low code? And that is main question for today, while we are going through the Powerapps as an example. And it means that we the business people usually could become citizen developers. It means that they are without any technical knowledge or small technical knowledge. At least you don't need to know any programming language. You could build functional applications. And as you know, in today's business environment, we're talking about a lot talking about applications, and we say that this could be solved by application, like some collection of information or processing of some information with approvals, etc., or maybe signatures and things like that. You could build application for that, and if you link with the data and give it to different many users, so you could do a lot of things. And the idea is that because of some environment, you could build these low-code applications quite easily. So that is actually the introduction part, and now we are going to our demo, mainly demo part, and we will look at the how the Microsoft is realized, or how they are built, how they are moving forward this idea of low-code application development with the Powerapps, because it's part of the Office 365 E3, for example, and Microsoft is saying that Powerapps is Excel on steroids. Imagine that what you can do with Excel. So you could do a lot of stuff. A lot of systems actually, or small systems, are built on top of Excel. And now imagine that Excel is powered by application UI, and you could build forms, interactivity, buttons, different controls, and put it on mobile device or a desktop, multi-user with a database. Imagine that everything, all this stuff available for you as a citizen developer. And I encourage you, of course, to try out this stuff, all these things that I will show you. There is a plenty of materials available on internet. This recording also will be available, so you could later on go step by step. And from my experience, I could definitely say that if you want to try to, and first, of course, is a little bit play with it, play with technology, touch it, feel it, understand it, and to play with technology. I encourage, I strongly recommend you not to use any existing of your accounts, but use this link. So this link allows you to create free of charge 30-day Office 365 E3 plan, where you can add Powerapps subscription. So here is a link for that. So build proper environment. It's very important. So the first step is to build proper environment. If it's okay, it will be easy to follow. Okay, we have okay, yeah, I'm posting in chat for everyone this link. Yep. And the proper thing, actually, when you create this Office 365 environment, you need to go to powerapps.com, and then click sign in. And powerapps.com, and then log in with your newly created tenant address, like email address, and then you will have the instructions how to add a Powerapps. Okay, let's start. And first, I have 3 demos. One about some basic principles, just to feel screen and a little bit understand the environment, and talk about variables. So sounds like variables, but it's more not as for programmers, but more for Excel users. understand these variables and how to navigate screens. Second demo will be about building a very small application where we are using some local database in Power Platform. It's common data service. It's built in, and how we could collect some information and store, like signature. And the third demo, a little bit bigger. I hope we'll have the time for that. That we will create from scratch the full application. And let's look at navigation, basic elements, and variables. In Powerapps, there is three types of variables. There is contextual, that is wallet only, screen only, and you could see the syntax, that is context, and then the parentheses. For example, variable price equals this semicolon. Colon means equals, and there's global variables, and the simple input field variables. But let's see how it looks in application. So of course it's better one time to see than 100 times, 1,000 times to hear. Okay, so when we are opening Powerapps, like in Office 365, you see that I created this tenant as I suggested for you. So my address is aldis@pbimeetup.onmicrosoft.com. So you will choose your own, and I created this tenant. It means email addresses, bunch of email addresses, and under the applications, if you look at apps, I will have the Powerapps here. And of course, I also could log in it from powerapps.com. And we will start. What's important here? If we look at the menu, we have apps here, apps, and see the list of existing apps that are created or pre-created. We have the data. We will talk about it later, but for the start, it's apps, very important. And here is another thing. When we will start to work with, we start to learn. Of course, you need to create your own. You need to create your own environment. And here, when you click on environments, you see that I have Meetup default environment and Meetup new environment. How to create these environments? Under settings, here is the admin center. And when you click on admin center, you will have an option to create environments. What's environment? Environment is actually the separate place when you could create different applications and stuff like that. So you click new, give a name, of course, say the trial. You need to use trial for this, create a database for environment, and things like that. So it's quite straightforward. Okay, so and I will work in this not default environment. Again, in default environment, you probably will have some troubles with making all the needed things for training. So create a new environment. Just remember it and then find out how to create it. And let's start by creating the app. And we see that there are three types of apps we could create from scratch, like Canvas apps, model-driven apps, and portal. And today we will focus just on Canvas apps. What is the difference between all these three? Canvas apps, it means that we are creating them for mobile and desktop devices with layout we are choosing and the different data sources. Model-driven app is a type of app when we are creating some specific business process and from the templates and using a little bit advanced functionality of Powerapps. We will cover it in our later meetups. And the portal is actually new functionality available just this year, starting this year. We can create the client portals with that. And today we will focus on Canvas apps, because to master it, master even the Canvas apps, it's enough for the start and understand this all the low code beauty. Yeah. And you can see that it offers us and says, let's start on Canvas app from using the some data sources like OneDrive, SharePoint, SQL Server, and we will just choose this blank application. We will start with a blank application. I will use a tablet layout. You can see that there is a phone layout and tablet layout. And imagine we want to create the tablet layout. And what we see, we start with a blank screen. Yeah, nothing here. There barely we could understand that there is some insert functionality, some controls. Here is a tree view, so it looks like PowerPoint more or less on a regular application. And we will start with we don't have even data. And we will want to check this idea of different variables I showed you previously. So let's try and use some controls right away, like labels, text input, HTML, pen input. Let's use text input. And when we see that text, we have a text input, we could grab it, we could resize it, we could put it in right place. So we are starting to design our application. And in this case, when you add this text input, you see that there is a screen one. Screen one, we could rename it. We could say main screen. And it's better, of course, it's better to use the logical names for these controls. And let's say first we will give the name for this input text, input field first. And let's add the button here. We're adding button. Okay. Let's create another screen. So I'm saying let's create blank screen, and it will be like, let it be screen one. And in screen one, I'm creating not label, sorry. I'm creating another input text. I'm calling it second. And I'm creating another button. I could place it. You see that it's really nice alignment working here, like in PowerPoint. And I'm creating third screen, which is screen two. And I'm putting label here, label. And now what I'm saying I want to, for example, calculate that input from this plus input from this equals here. How to do that? I'm just saying here on the text, I'm saying that um, it will be equal first dot text plus second. Second, it means second, this second element, second dot text. It shows me because requires a capital, and you see already it's 0. Okay. And if we go to main screen, of course, we want to, when we are clicking to this button, we want to move to the next screen, to screen one. And how to do it? There is a navigate function. We click navigate and say screen one. It shows me all available screens, screen one. And I even could provide a transition like fade. Okay, use a fade as transition. Let's go to screen two, click on button. And again, we say navigate and say screen two and comma transition fade. Okay. And let's now go to main screen and run it. So we run it. It's a first input box. I could say 10, clicking button. It's going to second screen. I say 5, click, and you see that result is a 15. So it works, and we see how this navigation idea of that we have navigation here, and the idea that we could calculate, just use this elements from all the application across the application and use variables. And there's as on my presentation, we have also global variables, so and contextual variables. Let's take contextual variable. And what means contextual variable in this case? We are going to here and under button I saying let's put that update context price, variable price equals price plus 1. And if we put here not input text, but we say the price as a variable and run it, yeah, we're clicking and actually it works like 1 plus 1. Yeah, and contextual variable works only on this screen. So if you go to screen to screen 2 and also enters a label and start writing price, it's actually underscores that there is doesn't exist this kind of variable because it's here. So it's exists only here. And therefore we could, for example, use a global variables that will be available everywhere. What else we could use? We could use the collections. It means that we could create the more table. So it's possible to create a different things. Or if we look at the input, and we want to create a drop down, and here we have a drop down, for example. And now if we run this, we see that it's 1, 2, 3 by default. But if we click on it, it's a sample. But we could like say AAA, comma BBB, or even our variables. In this case, we're just writing from hand, but we could have a variables. And now you could even see that it's changed. So that is how we could create the drop downs and different kind of elements from the variables with what we need to and want to use. And if you look at where the variables are stored, and of course, if we want to see the actual values, because it could be reset, so we could use like in this case, we see that there is a button, and each time we run application, before we reset this value, it will be counting up. So let's create a button, and we say I want to reset it before continue. We're saying let's create button reset, and under the button on select, there is a many options. We will talk in a minute about all different options, but here we say reset. And what we need to provide a element name. In this case, element is second input field. So we are choosing second input field, clicking OK, and now we are running it and say reset. Oh, it's not working. Let me.
First input field.
This is a second, right? Yeah. We need to reset price. Variable, not reset, but it was under the button, on select. There is to reset it, we will use the update context price equals 0. So that is how we will reset it. So let's start it, and now it's counting and reset. And again, counting from the start and reset, counting and reset. So we are operating more or less like in Excel. So we are could do a different kind of operations, and sorry, about 80 percent of all Excel functions are available in Powerapps. And if we want to know, for example, for this application, we want to know all the current state variables, we could go in the menu, and here is a variables section. And if you look in variables, we see that here is a one variable currently only. It's a variable price, yeah, and it's the number, current value is 14, and we see where it's used. So we could track it quite easily. Okay, any questions so far? No questions? Okay, let's go to next. And it's like short think, like very maybe the easiest part just for someone to understand, okay, that we could actually create this stuff here. And next I want to show you the phone application. Phone application. Sorry, one moment. Yeah, sorry. And let's create some interesting thing. Like imagine that I want to collect some signature for something, enter name and signature, and store in my database. And for that, I could say let's build a layout first. And there we have that under input fields, we have a pen input, and it looks like this. We could draw on it. For example, let's put media image, and here, for example, we will say this pen input will be sign, sing, okay, sign, and we will say that under image, I will say that image actually is sign dot image. So I will just say that show me on image everything I wrote here, how it works. I start work. Yeah, I write something here, and you see it's saved as an image. Okay, but we don't need it. Idea is that we are using this signature, and then we will have the text input for name. You see again, it's nicely aligning. We will say that it's add label. It will be a name, for example. And we also need a button. We need a button, and we want to save all this stuff. Save. The idea of come, enter the name, do a signature, actually do a signature, and then save it somewhere. And the first question is, of course, where to save it. Yeah. And if we look at Powerapps, I'm switching over here to Powerapps, we have data section, and data section is where we could save it in a file, we could save it everything else, but the in local scenario, we could use this data section, which actually called its name is Common Data Service. So everywhere you will see the CDS, Common Data Service. And what's a Common Data Service? It's a place when we could create our own tables, local tables. It means I say new entity, and I could create it name, and then create it. It will be as a table, and then create a column, columns. Yes, and I created a table which is signatures. Yeah, we see the table signatures. There's a lot of fields, and I created the separate fields like name, surname. You could see here name, surname, type text, and so on, and signature. You see the signature, type image. That is where I could store the signature. And if I want to create additional field, I click new field, and it will be like position. Field name is position. I could choose different types, so I don't need to be a data scientist or data analyst. So I just create. It could be a file, duration, phone, URL, email, text number, currency, and so on. So it's very easy to choose. Like, let it be email. There's different options for this for this field, and so even I could create the calculation rules, like if the value of this field is 5, or add something, then update some other field, or so on. So, and what I want to do is store information here, and it's available together with Powerapps. And we see that currently the table is empty. So let's go back to our let's go to about sample application. And what we will do, actually, we need to write under this save button some expressions that saves all this. And we see that sign is a signature place, and text will be like text box. Be careful with names. So if the names will overlap with the function names, it will be harder to understand them. So give the logical names. And what we will use for the update, there's a different functions for the submit form for forms. But in this case, it's like free type of it's not a form, it's like just 3 elements we put here. So you will use a function called patch. And patch means that we are updating record in the database, or we are inserting new. And before that, sorry, I will add this. You could see that I will add this signature entity in data here, that it's like linking this signatures table, this signatures entity, with my Powerapps application. And now I'm ready to write this patch expression. So I'm writing that patch. First, I need to say the source, and source is signatures. I see it's here. Because we are updating or inserting, I usually need to provide some default value. In this case, I'm saying that default is signatures. If I'm not inserting, I could provide here the filter for the like ID of record, or some parameter of record which I want to update. And now we need to provide the update expression. And first, I want to update this CRA. It's a name 5 ID. So ID should be provided because it's a mandatory field, required field. I say just let's add 1 as a value 1. Next, I am providing. I saying let's update field, insert field name, surname, and it will be equal our text box, box.text. So you see that it's already marked as a variable. And next is we want to update insert signature, field signature, and it will be our sign variable, sign dot image. So yeah, we are ready with the formula. And now let's go and run it. So we clear it here up. And now what I'm doing, I'm doing some signature. I'm providing name, say Aldis. It's a signature for Aldis. I'm clicking save, and you see that button. button was for a while white, it means that it's saving happening. Let's go to our table and refresh it and see that we have, yeah, there is a one record, then one record. And we could look at this record. We could say edit record. And we could say that it will be Aldis and signature. Yeah. So okay, we don't see that all the fields, but it's okay. Let's see what we can get here. For example, we want to see the results already that we saved something. Let's add a gallery, and we will add a vertical gallery which contains the image and some text. And you see this object. So we are putting it down here. Yeah, you see there's nothing is connected, so lorem ipsum. We will change it to image and title, and we will provide the data source. It will be the signature data source. And we already see that image is set as a signature. We see the signature, and we clicking on this field here, and we see that on the formula bar that this item means that the one item of this collection of signatures, so one row, and we just change it to name underscore surname to our variable, and you see that Aldis. Oh, nice! So it works. Let's play it again. Clear this. Say, and it will be for Emil's. And we click save. It's saved, and you see it here. Okay, let's do something else. And it will be the signature for Anne. And again, we could check it here that it's stored. So you see, we could create even that. It's very, like in 5 minutes, we could create the application with right user rights to imitate this signature. And of course, we could do some additional design here, like under the icons. Under the icons, we are going to rectangle, and we could put it here, put our logo, click label, and do some formatting like signature application. And of course, it's yeah, and give a text color. There is a color, and just say white. And we have this white color for name, and do all this formatting and add images. And again, it's like ready application. So that's how it works. And it looks quite simple. Of course, there are some preparation needed and some right way how to design this application. So it's not just so that we are putting all the fields and all the controls. And if you look at the under controls here for input, for example, the controls are really like growing all the time. So we are getting more and more controls over time. Like here we could have the control of rating, yeah, putting this 5 stars, and do proper coloring, and like voila, it's ready. We could rate this application. So it requires a little bit preparation. So that is why I encourage you and really ask to play it before you build any application, to play with it more, to try out different things, try to work with them step by step, and do it in a proper environment. So again, I tried it several times with my different emails, like working email and so on, and something is not working really good because of access rights, because of many things. So create for your training, create the pure environment. Okay, and let's go to our last demo today, third demo. So we have something in chat. I will look at it briefly. So, okay, question from PG. Do the end user need to have access to the CDS database or SharePoint library for the data to be saved? No. As a user who is work like using application, the if you're using Excel file, so in the next example we will have an Excel file. Of course, then you need access to this Excel file from the setting perspective, because you are using this application with your user, because you are logged into Office 365, so you need to access to this data source. But with other data sources and files, it's much easier. So you need access to application, and I just will save it quickly, like signature app, just to show you how it will look like in our app list. Okay, we could share it, like sharing. But let's go to Powerapps. I'm going to my Powerapps. Under the apps, I will see my signature app. So, and that is how the user will see it, and it will open, and the user will click on it, and you can see now user experience. So there is a loading, and voila, for the phone-like application, I have this one, and put text, and click save. Yeah, and my signature exemplar is saved. So that is user experience. Okay, let's go to our last demo today, and we will build a Canvas app using Excel file, because probably and it's okay that we will use a tablet layout. So it's absolutely okay that we have Excel file for something, like we are collecting claims, or we are processing something, what we usually do in email right now. So we are there are incoming emails for something, and we are writing them in Excel file and trying to manage it. But if we build an application on top of it, it's easier to manage. And let's start with the thing that is very important, and it's templates. So we need, because building applications, we need when we have different multi-screen applications, which is okay to have, we need some right look and feel. So, and therefore we are usually building one screen, which we call golden template. So we are designing it, and then we will just duplicate the screen for other things. And to create it, we will use, again, icons. So when you probably the interesting thing, when you create icons, you see all the icons, and you need to scroll down to get this rectangle, which is used for formatting of the application. And like I'm here, I'm driving layout. So I'm copying it. I say I will have the top header, and then the left some place left thing here, and then I could call it even say it's simply header, and then as normally I will have a button, for example, here, and I will have a label for my name, name, and I will give a color for my, it will be white right now, and I will say that it will be test or demo application. So probably I also want to change color for this and for that, and why this golden template is needed. Imagine that we are not now we are doing duplicate screen, and if we created 10 screens, for example, or 5 screens, so if we want to change something like in layout, we need to go to each screen and change this layout. Therefore, we need to, instead of this one, we need to create a new page and say design and settings. Design and settings, and what we will create here, we will provide the colors for everything. I just click this one and say it will be background color. And we need to also name this layout, this label. Background color, and we could provide a color for this. For example, we say properties color, and it will be light gray. For example, light gray. It's a background color. Let's do a copy of it, and we will say the header color. Header color, and header color will be change color, and it will be light blue. This one, yeah. And let's create another, and we will say that it will be button, and we could create the whole the color scheme. I will just showing you example of it. So, and we say that button will be, let it be dark gray. Dark gray. And now when we have these colors, let's go to our golden template. And instead of having like header color here, if we go to header color and look what kind of color we have here, fill. Yeah, we have an RGB, but we will say that it will be equal a header color dot color. And it changes to according. And the same, and for button, for example, we say that button color will be button dot color. Yeah, we see the text changes, so we need to change field. Okay, let's keep it. And here we will say that fill out, and we will say that it will be background color. Background dot color, and it's gray. And now when we will create another screen, duplicate screen. We're creating it. It will be the golden template. This will be our main screen, and we are creating one more, for example, screen here, and it will be our edit screen or view. We will start with view, and now we have the 3 same screens. Yeah, and imagine that we want to change, for example, this top color with something else, this header color. And we say not have a light blue, but light green, or we could choose, of course, from the picker, or we could choose from by providing color code with RGBA and so on. So we could provide different like select this color in different ways. But if we go to our screens, we see that now color is changed on all screens. So again, if you want to build a nice looking and good application, so you need to invest some time in preparing the templates for it. But now let's create some logic. So what we want to create now, we want to link it to our Excel file and show some information here and work with this edit, add, and delete functions and things like that. So I look at the time, 10 minutes to go. So I think we will finish in 15 minutes. First, let's add before we will add the data source, we'll start with a gallery view. So we want to show something in gallery view because it's very nice way how to display information. And I will connect to OneDrive for Business. I think because on OneDrive I saved my file in the folder Meetup. You see, it finds its supplier and purchase list of purchases here. Just Excel file that is saved. And when I selecting it, you see it shows me already the list of records here. So first I will delete a button here and select this and make it larger. So do a little bit formatting of it. So if we run application, we see that it's like functional, it's showing our data, but it's maybe not looking, not properly formatted. So first I will change the layout because I don't have any image. So I will use this layout with title and subtitle and so on. I see that there's a fields like some amount, the name, surname, so it's not what I want. I go to the field list here, click edit and say the body, it will be amount. That subtitle in the middle, it will be phone number, and on the top, it will be the first name. And I have in mind that I will add a second name here. And if you click on each element here, you could see that, for example, this one, I could change, layout it, and we see that this item first name, yeah, it's it takes the item, the one tile, it's an item. So we're taking item, and if we want to add, for example, I want to first name and second name, I could just add some empty space with some percent and say this item. So again, dot last name. Let's add the last name here. And now I've just added, like in Excel, and see the first name and last name. We could add a different kind of controls here. For example, the easiest way is to copy, and you see that if you copy, it actually show on every label because it works like multi-item. And here I will add in the middle, I will say that, or let's say that it's supplier, and I will say this item dot supplier. And suppliers means that I have a column with that name in my Excel file. I could make it larger and so on. And again, now I run it and you see that it works like I wanted. So I could change it, customize it, enhance it, make it different, add additional information, add a button here, for example. I could choose and create a button here and add, for example, save information, add any information, or whatever. But we have button here that is currently not working because no action here. But the idea is that by clicking this, I'm going to some detail view. And let's go to the next screen, which is view screen. And we will say that we want to show the information here. And how to do that? We will add a form. And there's two types of form we could add: the edit form and display form. And display form is just showing the information, and edit form we can edit it. Let's start with a display. And then click display. Again, we could add it. We could add the data here. And let's add a data source. It is our purchases. And we could firstly need to select what kind of data we want to add. So we click add and see all the fields available. So I'm adding them, all of them. I click add, and it's automatically added here. So, and it's in 3 columns. Why in 3 columns? Because it's in settings, I have 3 columns. So I could say in 4 columns, I could say in 2 columns. And what's good with this formatting, for example, I could say it's in 3 columns, but for example, I want a bigger notes, so it will automatically adjust the other controls to have this information here. And you see that this is empty currently. So we need to understand how to fill it out. So I'm clicking on it, and I need to provide the item. So here I click an item, and what I say, the item actually comes from remember from the previous previous screen and the gallery. So therefore, I'm writing. I'm writing item will be gallery 1, selected the item, and just it. So we could, and we have it. Okay, let's make it function. So now we are clicking here, and we are saying we will use this navigate function. You're already familiar with that, and we are saying navigate to view. And provide the transition. Let it be fade. Okay, and now we are ready to check it out. Let's check it out. Scroll. Let's David Barber, and we're clicking here, and we are coming to the screen. David Barber, all the information. Right, very nice. So we have a question here. PG, what is the learning curve of Powerapps? Do you need a programming background to be proficient in formal? No, I don't have a really programming background. You don't need. Yeah, you could. It takes a little bit time to like get into it, but you don't need any programming knowledge to do that. So it looks like what the hell he's using, like something navigate, but actually it requires you like knowing 10 functions, and these are not a multi-line code. You just need to remember 10 functions, and you could do a lot of stuff. Like, let's do on this screen, for example, the logical thing in previous scenario, remember that we want to go back, and we want to create a button that we could say that back, that when we are clicking back, we are going back. And what you think, just without any, probably some of you without any Powerapps knowledge, how to go back? And most probably you will say, let's try back. And that's right. We just need to use transition back, and that's it. And when we go, when we run application again, let's take Joe Berry. We click here, back button, and it goes back to previous state. So that's simple it is. Okay, let's, again, I'm looking at the clock. Let's create this edit, so that we want to edit something. And then we will wrap up. So I will do a duplicate screen from the view. It will be edit item. I will name it edit item. It will be probably a little bit tricky, this edit thing, but not so tricky. Okay, we will add a form, and it will be edit form, of course. No many forms available more. So we are clicking edit here, and we are providing data source, our Excel file, and we need to choose fields. Again, I'm choosing all the fields. Add. And we see that, like, again, I could, like, I need to change the properties that it's multi-field, or I could say that it is a password or whatever. So a lot of things for formatting. And here I clicking on this form, I need to provide an item again. Item, and the item as for this application is gallery1.selected. It's like this expression probably also looks like programming, but it's imagine that it's more like an Excel when you need to, in some sheet, you need to provide the reference for the value or cell from the other sheet. So I'd say that gallery one is a list of items where I select them, and selected, it means that what I will show here. So back button, nothing to do about here. Let's go here, and we will create the button that is edit. I will click here and say edit button. Edit button, and under edit button, it's a little bit tricky because what I'm saying here, I say that I need to enable editing, edit form, and there's a function edit form, and I will say that I give a reference to the form which name it edit item. It's my form, edit item. So I'm putting this form in edit form because I could insert or edit using this form for insert or edit. And I'm saying navigation. After you do this, navigate to edit item form, comma, fade. Oh, something wrong. Look at edit form as an input. Let's look something. Edit form. Let me look. Wait. Yeah, it should. Yep. item form. I don't know what's happening. Why it's what's wrong? Let me check it out. Don't you need a refer to form 1? You mean, okay, to form 1, it's yeah, right. I'm referring to screen. Yeah, right. Sorry. So here, not edit form, but form 1. That is why it's needed to write a proper naming for forms. Thank you. And now, when I click play, there's edit. Yeah, I'm clicking on edit, and I'm in edit mode. So I could edit it, and I could, if I want to submit after changing it, I could use the create a submit button, submit, and say just on select, I will use a submit form and form 1. So, and all the changes will be saved to this record of it after clicking submit. So, and before we finish today, just a couple of minutes last. Maybe you have questions so far or some comments. So what else we could do? Of course, we could here on the view, we could add additional button, say delete, and of course, as you imagine, the delete will be remove, and we are providing purchases, and gallery 1 selected, because always we have one selected, so we will delete it. So let's look at questions. How to use this on mobile phones. On mobile phones, you have a special application, native application, Powerapps. So go to iOS store, Apple Store, or Android Store, and you can download the native application called Powerapps. And when you log in this application with your Office 365 account, you will see all available applications and have this experience. And same for tablets. Comment from PG, this is great. Can you use Powerapps of creating user forms with Excel? Absolutely, you could create the Powerapps for instead of Excel, especially in multi-user scenario, because multi-user scenario, imagine that the beauty of Excel is that it's very easy, so very naturally you could create the apps. But the problem with Excel is that it's very hard to use it multi-user scenario, and also in Excel you don't have all these controls like a camera or audio or microphone. Imagine or remember example or barcode scanner, or example with signature. So you don't have all this, let's say, controls, radio buttons, drop downs, and all this stuff in Excel. So it's in Powerapps. That is why Powerapps is Excel on steroids. Let's add this idea of not image, but let's add this camera, for example, and now um, I'm allowing, so I'm switching camera. I will switch it off from Zoom, and let's add it again. Camera. And now you see, now you see me inside this this application. So, and I could grab a picture. So I could take, let's add an image here, like making thumbnails. So you see that I'm moving. Let's add a button, and under button, I will, by clicking button, and this element is camera 2. I will say the camera 2.image. So I hope it will work. Oh no, it will not. There. So it was possible to grab this image, but so you could see that I could insert the video here in application easily. So that is a difference between Excel and the Powerapps. And what else we could do? So we are out of time, but what is possible to do is put a controls that when for example, when I click remove or delete, that there is a pop-up and saying, are you really going to delete this? Yes, no, and so on. So this was some very short introduction into what is possible, and follow our scheduled meetups. So there will be also advanced Powerapps. I hope you enjoyed this session. So now let's cover some questions. Question from Lee. Hello, Lee. So is the CDS database that you created before the webinar exclusive to this app? Is this an instance for this app, the database design? Yeah, that CDS is a data. Let's say, imagine that CDS is a database for all applications in the environment. It's actually under the environment meetup new. So there's environment. Under this environment already, I have here 6 applications. And all these applications, maybe not all, but they could use this database. So this CDS is a like imagine that if we take one Excel file or many Excel files and we place them in more standardized database view, like here, you see that accounts, activity, this is predefined definite tables. If I click accounts, I see that in accounts table, I have a fields like account name, account number, rating. If I look at the data, or what kind of data I have here, you see that the account name, phone number, city, and so on. This CDS is for all the applications in this environment. So I could create them as many tables I want and use for as many applications I want. So this is for all the environment, or for my, if for example I'm working in a company with Office 365, usually I will have one common CDS for all company probably. Any other questions? So if no, thank you so much. This recording will be available tomorrow in the comments to this meetup. So thank you very much, and have a nice evening. So take care.
Thanks, Aldis.
Thanks, Lee. So thanks for coming.